Good morning everyone, it's just after 6 a.m. on Saturday the 25th of July and I am starting the Jakobsweg. I've just left home and I'm heading off to catch my tram. It's a beautiful, beautiful day and I think that's a great sign that things are going to go well. So fingers crossed, don't have any interruptions with my hike because of coronavirus and I'm really excited. Let's see how this goes. So I'm here on the tram platform in Pfenigheim. This is the first leg of my journey across Germany and France today. I'm waiting for the tram, Straßenbahn from Pfenigheim into Mannheim. Today I will catch the tram, then the train from Mannheim to Paris. I've got a changeover in Paris and I've got to go to a different station, and I then go from Paris all the way down to the southwest of France, to Bayonne, and I have a wait there for a small regional train that will take me up into the mountains to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, the start spot for the Camino, the French way for the Camino. There are many ways. So hopefully all my travel goes well today. I've got long connection times. So I've got a bit of time in Mannheim this morning. I need to go to the bank and get some cash. I've got time in Paris, which means I should be able to walk between the two stations, and I've got time in Bayonne. So that also means that hopefully if any of the trains are delayed, I shouldn't miss my connection. But let's see how we go. So here I am in Bayonne, in the southwest of France. So I've made most of my train travel for today. I've just got a bit of a stop over here while I wait for my connection. And I went to the supermarket, got a sandwich and some juice and a bit of bread for my walk tomorrow morning, because I'll be leaving before the shops are open. But yeah, it's a really nice feeling to be here. I've never actually been here in the southwest of France before. The cities have a really different feel. We're beside the ocean and it's very warm here. So I'll give you a look. This river over that way connects up to the ocean, and there's a beautiful breeze coming in off the ocean at the moment. And yeah, I'm just sitting here by the river, enjoying the peace and watching things go by while I wait for my next train. So I'm excited, nearly finished my first day of travel, and looking forward to getting to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port so I can walk into the hostel for tonight and get a good night's sleep for my first day walking. Hello and welcome to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. I have made it, checked into my hostel. My hostel is actually one of those buildings you can see over there, has a nice garden out the back. I've had a shower and a shave and I feel refreshed after my day of travel. This is a gorgeous, amazing ancient town. I'm walking here on the city walls. You can walk right around, and up on the top, up there, is actually the citadel. And it's huge, and I've been up there as well. It's been there for about 400 years and has a lot of history. And I've just watched the sunset. You can see the mountains are all around us, and from the citadel up there, I had a bit of a look at the direction that I'll be heading in tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to the first stage. That's when we cross the Pyrenees, and it should be magnificent. Now I'm ready to go and hopefully have a good night's sleep and get ready to go tomorrow. We are partway up the ascent towards the pass through the Pyrenees, and I met Gonzalo. We just filmed a bit of stuff on his GoPro, but this is incredible here. It's such a scenic spot, such a peaceful spot. The blue sky is starting to come out, the clouds are lifting up, but we're getting higher and higher So we're really even getting up to the level where we're in the clouds. So it's really incredible, and thrilled to be here. So I'm at one of the highest points at the crossing. I don't think I'm right at the peak yet, but the view from here is just terrific. Quite a steep climb and the air is a bit thinner up here. We're over 1,000 meters, well over 1,000 meters now, over 3,000 feet, 3,500 feet elevation. But it's just spectacular. We're at the level of the clouds. You can see over there we're right up in the mountains. We just walked past this flock of mountain horses down here, and they are really stunning animals, and they all have these beautiful bells around their neck, so the sound just echoes around the tops of the hills here. Yeah, it's a great start to the Camino, and you might be able to see down there, that's Gonzalo, my new friend that I've been hiking with for the last couple of hours. Border into Spain a little while ago, and now we're even higher up, and it's really beautiful scenery up here. There's wildflowers growing all down the side of the hill here, and it's very, very peaceful and very beautiful. There's no cloud cover anymore, the sun has come out, so I've got my good hat on, lots of protection for my neck and my ears to try not to get sunburnt on this hike. But what's really stunning is in the distance you can see the mountains and the cloud touching them. It's really a magical place. Col du Leopard or something like that. This is the pass through the Pyrenees where we go down the other side. So behind me we look down into Navarre, the first region of Spain, and back this way is where we've come from. But yeah, it's very peaceful and very beautiful here. It was quite a hike to get here. We've walked about 20 kilometers and climbed up over 1,000 meters. So this spot here is 1,420 meters above sea level, according to my phone. But it's very spectacular, very beautiful, and really getting this far is a big bit of the first stage done. So after this, it's a fairly quick walk down to the end of the first stage, and then I'll probably keep going past that point to get a bit extra done, because I'm trying to get to Santiago in 21 days, so that means that for many of the days that I'm walking I have to do a double stage, not the normal single stage. But that's okay, I feel good. Hi everyone, it's the morning of day 2 of El Camino, the Jakobsweg. We had an interesting evening yesterday. We arrived a little bit too late into the town where we planned to stay, and by the time we got there all of the hostels were full and we couldn't find a place. So we ended up having pizza in a restaurant there and called a taxi and went into Pamplona, the next big city, and stayed there last night in a comfortable hotel room, which was nice. But that meant that we missed 20 kilometers on the path. So what we did this morning is we got up early and we walked halfway back to where we left the path, and then we'd turn around and retrace our steps to Pamplona, and that way we make up the 21 kilometers that we missed in a taxi yesterday. So it's been a great start to the second day. I'm very pleased to be walking with Gonzalo, my fellow pilgrim that I met on the way. and today we won't walk so far, and we should arrive at an albergue with plenty of time, so that will be nice. We started before sunrise today, and so that was a beautiful thing as well, to be able to walk along the path and see the sun slowly come up, the birds come out. We haven't seen another single pilgrim on the way so far, so we've got the road to ourselves, and right now we're down beside this stream, and it's a beautiful clear morning. So just a little update. I've left Pamplona and I'm heading on with El Camino. A little bit of interesting trivia. Just behind me you might be able to see a police vehicle, but I just had to cross through a very large protest, which I understood was between Basque supporters and Spanish supporters, and I don't know why it's occurred at this place. It looks like it's maybe there's a visit from a Spanish politician or something like that. But it's very interesting. They had like a neutral zone in the middle, and they had the protesters on either side, and they waved me through because I was a peregrino. So very, very polite protesters, very angry at their cause, but very polite. Lots of them wished me a buen camino to pass through. And all of the police were very polite to me as well and waved me through. So I'll continue on my way, but that was interesting. So it's early afternoon on the second day of the Camino, and I've just stopped underneath this shady tree here to catch my breath, cool down, drink some water. I've hiked 30 kilometers today. I've only got a bit left to go, so that's a good thing. But the last section has been pretty hot and a little bit strenuous. So over in the distance there behind me, you can see a city. That's Pamplona, where I started out this morning, and had to double back a little bit and then come this way. And the distance in between Pamplona and here has just been these fields, which is wheat and sunflower. And a little while ago, my buddy Gonzalo dropped back because he was having a lot of pain with his feet. But if you look carefully down the hill right now, you can actually see he's caught up to me. So there he is. Hey pilgrim, give us a wave. Gonzalo. He's obviously in the zone because he hasn't heard me, but it will be good to catch up with him. So I've just had lunch in the little village here, and it's a very small place, I think about 20 houses. Gonzalo had caught up to me, and so we had lunch there together in a little cafe. The waiter, really, really friendly guy, very, very nice. And so now I'm continuing on the path. I'm very glad I had such an enormous sandwich for lunch, because that mountain you can see up ahead with the wind turbines on the top, I am going to go straight over the top of that and down on into the city on the other side. So very, very pleased to have a bit of fuel in the tank for the next bit of today's walk. Well, I made it to the top of the peak, 760 meters above sea level, where I'm standing right now, and it's a very good feeling. On the other side, there was no wind. I was in the shadow of this hill, so it was hot, sun, no breeze. But now I'm on the peak here. There's a beautiful breeze, and I just walked really, really close to these wind turbines. You can hear their blades whooshing through the air, and in fact all around along this ridge in that direction, and back along the ridge in that direction as well. Just lots and lots of those turbines making beautiful, clean electricity. So from here I head down, pretty steep, and there's a couple of small villages up ahead, and I can choose one of them where I'm going to stay tonight, depending on how I feel and what rooms are available. But it's a nice feeling to be up at such a beautiful high location, and heading into the last leg for today. So today I am out again fairly early from the albergue where I stayed last night. This is day 3 of the Camino, and I've already covered about 9 kilometers, and the sun just came up a little while ago, so you can see the sun over there behind the hill. I've been through 2 little hilltop villages so far. Actually, you can see one over there behind me. Absolutely ancient village. When you leave the town, you cross over a stream and then come back up a hill, and you do it on a Roman road. So that road was built by the Romans. Quite incredible. The countryside is changing quite a bit as well. So for the last day or so, I've started to see vineyards. So you can see here, beautiful, rich-looking vineyard. And then a little bit further down the hill, you might be able to see is an olive grove. There's been a few of those so far. Today's hike is a slightly shorter one than the last 2, which is good. But it finishes with a hike up into the mountains. So you can see the mountains there in the distance, and the place where I'm staying tonight is quite high up. But that should be a very nice place to stay, and all things going well, should be there in the early afternoon. The interesting bit of news, Gonzalo, my hiking buddy, we kind of parted ways yesterday because he was slowing right down because of his blisters, and I kept carrying on, and I stopped and got to my albergue and had a shower and did my washing and stuff, and then a couple of hours later he turned up. So he kept walking through his pain and blisters, and he got there. So today we're doing the same leg. We're going to end up at the same place again today. We started out together this morning early from the albergue, but he had to drop back again because he's in a lot of pain with his feet. Poor fella. So I hope he gets through the day okay, and I'll meet up with him up there in those mountains. Good morning, it's day 4 of the Camino, and it's another beautiful day here in Spain. I left nice and early from my albergue in Villa Major de Monjardin, and what was really nice is the guy running it puts the breakfast out late at night, so any time in the morning that pilgrims want to leave, they can go. So I had my breakfast at 4 o'clock this morning, got away just after 4:30. And I've been hiking ever since. And now you can see I get to watch the sunrise behind me in the east, and I've just passed through Los Arcos, and I've made some good progress. I've covered 13 kilometers already before it gets too warm. It's forecast to be 38 degrees Celsius this afternoon, so I don't really want to be doing too much hiking in that kind of heat. And yeah, it's a really beautiful time to be out. No other pilgrims on the road, very few people awake, no cars, not much at all. So I'll give you a sweep around, see what it's like. I'm heading down that way. From what I read in my guidebook, much of the pathway today is like what I've been along, which is these gravel paths through farmland. And yeah, hopefully it should be a good day. Feeling pretty good at the moment. So it is about lunchtime on day 4, and I've almost made it to Logroño. We left the province of Navarre, which is a wonderful feeling because I entered that province. It was the first province of Spain. I entered it when I crossed the Pyrenees, and there was a big stone, and now it feels great that I've walked the entire distance across that province, and now I'm into La Rioja. And so this region is very famous for their wine, and I've already passed many vineyards. So this area here is not so fantastic. That's just like industrial area. The village on the hill that you might be able to see in the background, I passed through that about an hour ago. That's very pretty, had a beautiful street with cafes beside the cathedral. But the good news is just 2.5 kilometers down that way is lunch. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, that is the city of Logroño. So things are going well. It's been a very, very productive day. I've knocked over 39 kilometers before lunch. So I'm really, really pleased with that. I'm feeling good. So it's a bit after 4 in the afternoon and I've passed through Logroño. I had a delicious lunch, had tapas and cold drinks at a bar in the city centre looking out on a fountain. That was really a treat and very nice. The table beside me had an old Scottish couple who were here visiting their son. So I had a nice chat to them. So that was very nice, busy city. But I'm not staying there tonight. I kept going through. So now I've come out onto the outskirts of the city and I've just been past this beautiful lake, and actually on the other side of it is an enormous picnic area and a set of playgrounds for children, absolutely vast. I imagine normally there would be hundreds and hundreds of people here having picnics and children playing and things like that. But at the moment all closed because of coronavirus. So literally it's like a ghost parkland. I've just walked right the way through it, not seen another soul. I think the Camino pathway that I'm following through it is the only thing that's open really. So yep, that's just how it is. That's the reality of coronavirus. So I'm going to keep going on the path down that way, and right now I'm just having a break under these trees to cool off and drink some water because it is a warm afternoon. But not far to go, just a few kilometers to go, and then I reach my destination for today, which is called Navarre. Good morning and welcome to day 5 of the Camino, and I've made another early start before sunrise today. Been walking for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours now. I'm just in a little town called Ventosa, and I've climbed up to the center of the city where they have their church. This is the church of Saturnino. But yep, making a good start. Feel okay today. A little bit sore after my very, very long hike, 55 kilometers yesterday. What's very nice is I get to see a beautiful sunrise this morning, and in the valley down there is actually the town of Navarre, and that's where I stayed last night. So yeah, it's been a nice start walking through vineyards. Basically, there's a lot of winemaking in this region. It's a main thing that it's famous for. So I better get on with my hike. So I've just had a bit of late breakfast in Navarre, and now I'm hiking on the rest of today's leg, and now I've just been walking through vineyard after vineyard, and I've come up onto a bit of a ridge, and the view from here is really spectacular. So I'm going to show you around. This is the direction I'm going, down here. And you just see vineyards, and in the background there you might see some spectacular mountains. So the highest peak on the mountain that you can see over there is 2,200 meters. So you can't see any snow on it at the moment, but for much of the year that would have snow. And yeah, you can see really all around from here. Really spectacular. The temperature at the moment is not too bad. It's warm, but there's quite a breeze, and so I stay relatively okay, relatively cool. Got my good sun hat, keeps the hat off my neck, my ears, my face. But the rest of today is going to be very hot. So I'm trying to be fairly prompt and finish off this leg so I can get into some shade for the afternoon. So I've only got about 4 or 5 kilometres left to go just down this path to get to my destination for today, and I have to say these first 5 days of the Camino have been very dry. I haven't been rained on once, although I did rain once in the evening once I was at the albergue, but look at these thunderclouds building up here. So I just heard the first bit of thunder, and I would say it's pretty likely that before I complete these last 4 or 5 k's, I'm going to experience my first bit of walking the Camino in the rain. So let's see if I make it. Well, it turns out I didn't beat the rain, and I did get sort of a bit wet in the short storm as it blew over here, but luckily I have my good water cover for my rucksack, and I have my raincoat, so basically I'm okay. But look at this, I'm just about at the town, so I'm looking forward to finishing for today, taking off this wet jacket, putting my shoes somewhere to dry, and having a warm shower and maybe a coffee. But overall, it's been a good day. I've covered about roughly 40 kilometres, 39, 40 kilometres to get here. So that's good. That's me on track with my target distance. Good morning. It is the start of day 6 of my Camino. Well, not really the start. I started a few hours ago. I've already walked about 15 kilometres, but it's good to get a lot done early in the day today because it's forecast to be 38 degrees Celsius maximum this afternoon. So I'm keen to get as much of my walking done as possible while it's cool. But it's a lovely day. You can see the sun above the horizon over there. It's still cool. I've seen a few other pilgrims on the road already this morning, including my buddy CJ, this guy who's running a marathon each day. So yeah, I'm looking forward to today. I'm going to try and cover 47 kilometers, which will get me close to Burgos. And Burgos is like the beginning of the section where you're up a bit higher and you're in the desert region in the middle of the north of Spain. So let's see how I go. Hopefully I can cover the whole lot and still feeling good at the end of the day. It's a bit after midday on day 6 of the Camino, and I've just come down this path. I was out in the open fields for quite a while, and it's already quite hot, so you're quite exposed out there. But then you come up to magical little spots like this. So here is an old wooden bridge. Actually, it doesn't look completely safe, so I think you probably want to be careful where you step on it. But underneath it is this beautiful, cool stream. And down here by the stream, it's about 10 degrees cooler than out there in the sun. So little moments like this are a real blessing when you're walking in the hotter part of the day. And just looking around here, you probably can't see it in the video, but there's little finches and other little birds are flying around. There are butterflies. There are dragonflies. It's a little oasis for the wildlife and not just for me. What spoils it a little bit is this highway just behind me and the trucks zooming across. But other than that, it's a little oasis. So it is day 6 and it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'm on the very last stretch into San Juan de Ortega. It's less than 8 kilometers from here. I've just hiked along this path. There's a long, slow incline up through pine forest, and now basically I've reached the peak, and it's a bit of a gentle downhill from here on, which is good, but the forest is amazing. Wherever there's a clear patch, like you can see a bit along the edge here now, it's just tons and tons of wild lavender, or some flowers that look like lavender. And if you listen while you walk through, the place is literally humming with bees and insects. So it's a really, it's a beautiful experience walking through this part of the way. But I'm looking forward to arriving, to have a nice shower and get into the shade for the rest of the afternoon, because it is a warm day today. Good morning. Today is the 7th day of the way for me, and I had a lovely evening, very restful, very peaceful. I met some nice people in San Juan de Ortega, and I had a sleep in this morning, so I left at 6 o'clock this morning instead of 4:30 like I normally do, and I've made some good progress this morning because actually thankfully it's cool and cloudy. We're up quite high here, we're over 1,000 meters elevation, so it's a little bit of a different climate, but actually there has been a cool change in the weather, which is a great thing. I've just hiked up over this ridge, which is a bit of a stony ridge, and off to that side over there is a military region that's all fenced off, but today I'm heading down into that big city that you can see in the distance. That is Burgos, and it's quite a distance from here. I have to go, you might be able to see in front of the city down there is a large airport, and I have to walk beside that airport and then alongside the river into town. And all things going well, that would be a leg of 27 kilometers from San Juan to the center of Burgos if I did it, but I need to do a little bit further than that. So if all's going well, I'll sit down at a nice cafe, have something to eat and a cool drink, and then maybe go about 10 kilometers on the other side to the next town where there's some other places to stay. So overall, I'm pleased with how things are going, and today's a nice day, especially because it's a bit cooler. I've already seen a few other pilgrims on the way this morning. I was coming up a steep hill there before, and a group of 4 somewhat older than me pilgrims just motored past me. If they were going any faster, they would be running. They were some very, very fit looking, healthy pilgrims. Yeah. So let's see how this goes. So this is the end of day 7, and I've arrived here in Rabe de la Calzadas, and it's a small town, but it still has a few albergues. The one I'm staying at is just over the other side of the square here, and it's really nice. I have to say, it's a private one, and I have a room to myself, which could sleep many more people, but it's only 2 people staying in the albergue tonight. So I have the room to myself. The bathrooms are spotlessly clean, and they give you shampoo and body wash, which is very nice, and even the laundry is well equipped. It even has hand soap for like washing your clothes by hand, so that was a real treat, and I really appreciated that they provided that. The other thing I really appreciated is that I paid for the dinner as well as my stay, and it turns out I was the only person who had requested dinner tonight, and so the lady that runs the place cooked me my own dinner, and I got vegetable soup, I got a mixed salad, and I got an entire tortilla. And I love tortilla, it's very tasty, but for this, walking the way, it gives me energy. I mean, the one that I had tonight probably had 6 or 8 eggs in it, along with potato. So it's chock-a-block, full of energy, and because you need that energy to cover these distances carrying a backpack. So it's a small town. I'm just going around for a very short walk now that I've finished my dinner, but after that I'm going to bed to get a good night's sleep, and it should be fairly quiet here tonight because there's only one other guest, one other pilgrim, and he's in one of the downstairs rooms. So that's very nice. Tomorrow's an exciting day. Tomorrow is day 8, and I head into the Meseta, this sort of high, dry part of the way, and I'm very interested to see what that looks like. So, until tomorrow. Hello, it's day 8 of the way for me, and it's a really great day today because we have cool weather. So when I left this morning it was still dark and it was 14 degrees Celsius, hence I've got long trousers on today, got my jacket on. It will warm up later and I'll be able to peel off some layers, but at the moment it's great to cover some ground when it's nice and cool. It's very pretty and it's very peaceful up here. This is the area they call a Meseta, and it's very high, it's very flat. I've just come down off a flat plain. I've come down into this bit of a valley, and it's really nice colours at this time of day. The sun has come up, but there is some cloud around today, so I didn't really see a nice sunrise. But what I did see is it start to change the colours of the clouds, which is really pretty. So all things going well, my feet hold up well, my energy levels hold up well. I'll try and cover a fairly good distance today because the next 2 days it will warm up a little bit, but still not super hot for this region. But I really want to, as they say, make hay while the sun shines. And that's a good joke because all around me here are wheat fields where they've taken off the wheat and they've piled up the straw and they're ready to make hay. Hi, today is day 9 of the Camino, and I'm still walking across the Meseta. I had a good sleep last night, had basically a motel room, a big room to myself with my own bathroom, which is really nice. Had a long shower and washed all my clothes and things, and I've already made a good start this morning. Started just before sunrise, saw a beautiful sunrise, and now I've got a nice section of track the next 3 kilometers or so along the edge of this canal. So really this section of the path is going nicely, and I'm enjoying it. Yesterday I covered my distance. I did the 40 kilometers, and today I'm going to try and do something similar, maybe a few kilometers less, but yeah, it's going okay. It's a nice peaceful day today. I walked the first 8.5 kilometers today with one of the pilgrims that I met yesterday, but she usually covers 15 or 20 kilometers a day, and so she stopped off where we had our coffee for breakfast, and she's going to maybe continue a bit more later today. But I'm charging ahead and looking forward to see what I discover today. So today is day 11 and we've walked about 15 kilometers so far. Yesterday was day 10. I forgot to make a video on day 10, but day 10 was a bit symbolic because I passed through Sahagun, which is the symbolic halfway mark for the Camino. But actually I've walked quite a bit further than the halfway mark in terms of kilometers. So from here, I think it's roughly 350 kilometers, something like that, to Santiago, and I've covered well over 420 or 430 since leaving Saint-Jean, and done it in half the walking days. So I want to walk for 20 days, and I've done it in about half the days, so that's good. Last night I met a nice German fellow, Chris. We've been walking together this morning, and we shared a room at the albergue last night, and down that way is Leon, but it's quite a distance from here. I'm not sure if I'll reach it all the way today, but yesterday was a huge walking day. Yesterday I did over 53 kilometers, so that got me a little bit ahead. On average I only need to do 38 kilometers per day to get me to Santiago. So the weather is getting warmer. Today it's going to get up to 34 Celsius, and then in the days ahead even hotter. So that means it's important to get away early in the morning and get as much walking done as possible before it gets too hot. Hi, this is day 12 of the Camino for me, and I stopped last night just the other side of Leon and got up and made an early start this morning. Got away about 4:30 a.m. and passed through Leon early this morning, and now I'm heading out the other side. There's an optional path on the Camino in this section, so you can take the traditional French way, which actually just goes beside a road, so it's not so scenic. And so what I'm on here is called Camino Alternativo or something like that. It's an alternative route, tiny bit longer, but as you can see, it goes through some lovely peaceful countryside. I went through a nice little town before, and now it's relatively peaceful. Occasionally some bicycle pilgrims go past, and they are nice friendly people, even though they're going at incredible pace compared to me. And you might be able to see just in the distance back there the mountains and a little bit of the town of Leon. So I'm going to continue on today. I'm really pleased that I made an early start and I've made good progress. I've already covered 22 kilometers. I'm only aiming to do 36 today, so that I can get under cover before the heat of the afternoon really starts baking. So yeah, Camino's going well. And actually, another exciting thing, soon I should see a way marker with a number less than 300 kilometers remaining. So I saw one a little way back, 304 kilometers to Santiago, and I've walked a little bit since then, so I'm really excited to see one that says it's less than 300 to go. Because I've been looking at these markers since they said 700 something, 600 something, 500 something, 400 something, 300 something, and very soon I should be seeing the markers that say 200 something, and that will be a great feeling. This is the house of Mr. Sanchez, and what he does is he sits here and he welcomes pilgrims. That's his full-time thing. He's been doing it for a long time. He has these walls completely full of photos and postcards that people have sent after they've been here and they've met him. This is one that he wants to show in particular because I told him I'm from Australia, and he has many postcards from Australia. He has the flag from Australia here. He has animals from Australia here, kangaroos, some money from Australia, and of course our flag up here. And so he has welcomed me in. He's made breakfast for me. I've had coffee. His kitchen is loaded with food. I had marmalade that he made himself, and it is all provided gratis. He doesn't accept any or allow any donations at all. So this kind of generosity that you find on the Camino is really touching, and it's absolutely made my day. Good morning, this is day 13 of the Camino, and I had a sleep in today. So I slept in or stayed in bed until about 6 o'clock this morning and got away, so just before dawn. But after doing 46 kilometers yesterday and the last part of it in scorching heat, I needed that extra bit of rest. But today has been a great day. I feel really refreshed and energized, and I'm looking forward to today's walk. So where I am is this little region. There's a few little villages behind me that cross on the river Orbigo, and there is a very famous bridge that I walked across to enter into the town where I stayed last night. So there's a little village before it called Puente de Orbigo, and then there's the Hospital de Orbigo, which is the town where I stayed, and based around the fact that there's been an albergue or a hostel for pilgrims there for many centuries. And then there's, on the way out of the town, you pass through this village, which is just over here. And I've recorded a video there just a few minutes ago where I met Mr. Sanchez, an incredible guy, and he has given me some coffee and a little bit of breakfast, but more than that, an incredible amount of enthusiasm and motivation to get walking on this day. So it really is special to meet people like him, and it makes the Camino such a touching experience. It's a beautiful morning. You probably can't see it too well in the video, but the moon hasn't quite set yet. The moon is still up there, and over here you can just see the sun breaking through the clouds there on the horizon. So this time of day, it's absolutely the best time of day to be out walking. So let's get on with it. So along this section of the Camino, we're just a few kilometers out of Rabanal del Camino. There's a section of fence, and there are just thousands upon thousands of crosses that have been made with sticks and stuck into the fence. And some of the really beautiful ones are like this. They've used like bandages. Maybe bandages that they had on a wound, or bandages they had spare in their backpack to hold the cross together. And they've put them in the fence here. And it's really striking, because you think each one of these crosses was made by one pilgrim, and that one pilgrim has their own story and their own life and their own reason for making the Camino, and probably when they placed it there they said their own prayer as well. And so you think this is like a collective memory of thousands upon thousands of pilgrims and their experiences and their prayers and their hopes. And because the Camino is so quiet this year, and also because I'm passing through this section pretty late in the afternoon, it's nearly 5 o'clock, there's no one else around. So it's just me and the way and all of these crucifixes. So welcome to day 14 of the Camino. I stayed overnight at a place just down the hill called the Rabanal, and I've walked for a bit over an hour this morning. The little village that you can see down here, Fontsebadan. Had a coffee and a bit of breakfast in the cafe there, and now the sun is not yet over the horizon, but we're nearly at the top of the hill here. It's a stunning morning, not too cold, and it's just beautiful to watch the sun come up. So there's a big iron cross at the top, and that's where I'm headed now. So I've walked over the top and put my little stone at the peak on the iron cross, and now we're at this really beautiful plateau region, crossing from the peak back there where we saw the sunrise across here, and you see the view over the mountains here is really stunning. It's just beautiful. These are two nice French people that I've been walking with for a little while, and yeah, it's a really nice part of the day, a really nice part of the Camino to be up here so high, and hopefully there's a little diversion to another nice lookout point a little bit further up. So it's day 15, and I've started the day by hopping up early before dawn and walking through the dark to come up this hill, walking with some French pilgrims at the moment, and it's really spectacular. Before the sun came up, before sunrise, the sky was really clear. You could see all of the stars, you could see down the valley behind us, but now that it started to warm up a little bit, all of this mist fog has risen up from the ground and wrapped us up, and it gives it this really surreal, magical feel to be up in these mountains, almost no one else around, and just this beautiful fog rolling through the tops of the mountains. So a few minutes ago down the path we crossed into Galicia, and it's almost like a wall that you go through, and then the climate changes completely. So you can see behind me here the fog just rolling over the top of the hill and pouring down into the valley. We're up quite high, and this part of the pathway is just beautiful, just magnificent. It's really quite moist, almost cool air, but it's so peaceful, so beautiful. So this is day 17 of the Camino, and I've already finished walking for today. This is the town of Portomarín, and it's a bit of a hilly town. Up that hill behind is the albergue, where I'm staying with two French pilgrims and a Czech pilgrim. It's very nice and comfortable. We've got like a private room for four. It has its own bathroom, and it's actually very, very nice, and only costs marginally more than a normal albergue. It was a very nice day of walking today, actually. We started early before dawn, and it was cool, and there was some fog around, but generally very comfortable walking weather, and we covered a good distance, covered about 40 kilometres. However, the reason we started early is because you might be able to see over here, there is a bit of rain forecast for this afternoon, and tomorrow is forecast to be quite wet. So it will be interesting to see how far I end up walking tomorrow. But the great news is I'm close to the end of the Camino. So I passed the marker stone today that said there's only 100 kilometres left to go. Took a photo there. Was pretty pleased to get to that point. I've been watching the numbers count down as I go along, from 700 something, 600 something, 500 something, and so on. So to finally crack the last 100 kilometres was exceptional. Of course, there are many more people on the Camino now, because to get the actual kind of certificate that you get in Santiago de Compostela, you only need to walk the last 100 kilometres. So now that we're in that last 100 kilometres, a lot of people have now joined the Camino, especially Spanish people, who want the certificate, but for whatever reason can only walk the last few days. But that's all right. It's nice to see many more people out on the way. So I'm going to get some snacks. This part of Galicia is quite famous for a particular dish with octopus, and so I'm looking forward to dinner tonight and having some octopus. So this is day 18 of the Camino, and here in Galicia it rains a lot, and today it is definitely raining. So we made a later start than usual because we're only aiming to cover about 25 kilometres today. We've done, we're about halfway, maybe 12 kilometres, 13 kilometres done already, and it has rained a lot. So actually I'm quite wet all the way through, except for where I have my jacket on here. And we're just about to depart and walk the final 13 kilometres, and it is just like quite heavily pouring down rain. The other pilgrims you might be able to see, we're at one of the albergues that's running a cafe. Everyone's wet, everyone's got raincoats on, but generally spirits are pretty good. People are a bit cold and wet, but they are on the way. And of course, since we're in Galicia, there are many pilgrims now walking, like just triple or 5 times the number that were walking before we got here. So yeah, see how we go today. So today is day 20 and I've actually completed the Camino. So I'm here in Santiago. We made an early start this morning and arrived here just before midday, and it was actually pretty hectic. I was not quite ready for the sheer number of tourists and how busy Santiago is. But anyway, after arriving, I sat down with the pilgrims I had walked the last section with, and we had a bit to eat and a cold drink, and then went and lined up for the Compostela, which is the certificate that says that you've completed the pilgrimage, and that actually gets done down the walkway here in a special welcome centre for international pilgrims, but that took a really long time, like hours basically, and since then I've checked into my accommodation for the next 2 nights, which is stunning. This enormous building behind me here is a former Benedictine monastery, and it's incredibly old. They started building it in the 15th century, and I have a room inside that's, other than having a small modern bathroom, doesn't seem much different to what a monk would have had. It's a tiny room, has a bed, a little wooden desk, some windows that look into the courtyard, and that's it. But after having done the pilgrimage, it's nice just to have a very nice, small, simple room to relax in and have some peace and to reflect on the pilgrimage. Right behind me here is the famous basilica, the famous cathedral that people pilgrimage to Santiago to visit. And you can probably see there are cranes all around it, and huge parts of it are under reconstruction at the moment. I haven't actually been inside yet. I've got a day and a half here in Santiago, and I'm actually waiting for all the tourists to leave, so that it's a bit quieter and a bit more peaceful, and hopefully a bit more meaningful when I go in. This evening in the cathedral there will be a pilgrim mass, which is a mass that's especially for the pilgrims, and I've been to pilgrim mass in several little churches along the way, but I think it will be really special to attend mass here in the cathedral of Santiago. Santiago literally means St. James, and so that should be a real highlight and a beautiful way to round out and complete my pilgrimage, my journey on the way. It's been remarkable. At times it felt like it was going very slowly, especially when I was walking in a lot of heat, and it really sped up in the last couple of days, and now it's all just finished so quickly and so rapidly. So I am glad that I'm not leaving tomorrow. I'm glad that I arrived here with a day to spare. So I kept a day up my sleeve when I was kind of planning the days that I would walk, and partly that was in case I got injured or needed a rest day partway through the pilgrimage, but I managed to walk continuously all 20 days, and that means that tomorrow, day 21, is like a free day here in Santiago, and I'm hoping to visit some of the other sites, some of the other museums, and probably visit the cathedral again when it first opens in the morning and there's very few people around. So it's been a truly remarkable experience to do this pilgrimage. I actually didn't realize at all how meaningful it would be until I did it, and I imagine that would be the same for most people. Well, today is kind of like day 21. It is Saturday the 15th of April, and yesterday I finished my Camino, finished my pilgrimage right here in front of the Cathedral of Santiago, St. James, and went down that pathway over there to go and get my Compostela. And even now you'll see some pilgrims arriving by foot, and quite a few on bicycles, and they will be heading down there to do the same thing today that I did yesterday. And actually people have been making pilgrimages here for hundreds and hundreds of years, and probably they will keep making this pilgrimage for many, many years to come. I had a great sleep last night. I slept in until 8 a.m. this morning, and that's the first time in 3 weeks that I haven't got up before dawn and started walking for the day. So that felt really nice, but it also felt really strange not to be walking another stage in the Camino today. So far this morning I've been up to the top of, I don't know if you can see, there's two towers, and then there's one in the middle, and in the middle of the top of that tower is St. James, the statue of St. James. And I've been up the tower on the left hand side there, and there's actually quite an extensive exhibition, a museum exhibition underneath it, in the rooms where they basically held the synod meetings of the Diocese of Santiago since some date in the 13th century. So the history in this place is really incredible. Other than that, today I've just been relaxing and recovering. I went for a walk around this morning. I went to find the train station because tomorrow morning I begin my travel back to Germany with the train to Madrid and then my flight to Frankfurt. In a few minutes I'm meeting Tamara here, and we'll go out for a coffee and something to eat, and maybe a bit more of a look around Santiago. So overall the Camino has been an incredible experience, and I'm very, very pleased to have this day here today to relax and to recover a bit physically and mentally from the effort, because it is really quite an effort to walk the Camino. But yep, tomorrow's a travel day, and Monday I'm back to work, although there's a few complications. I need to get a COVID test when I land into Frankfurt Airport, and I have to wait until I get the result of that test, probably 24 hours before I can go to work. But I'm pretty optimistic it will be negative, and should have myself back at work quite soon. Huge thank you to everyone that supported me, that encouraged me to do the Camino, and I was really amazed. I posted little updates on Twitter along the way. The number of people and their backgrounds and from the different places around the world that were interested to see it, that I did not know would be interested in seeing the updates from something like this, a long walk across Spain, a pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela. So that was really touching. I'm really pleased that it meant so much to so many people. Most of all, it meant a lot to me, and I would encourage anyone that wants to make the Camino, to make the pilgrimage, to just do it. Whether you walk 800 kilometers like me, whether you walk 1,800 kilometers like Thierry, this wonderful French pilgrim that I spent the last few days with, or you walk 100 kilometers like the vast majority of the Spanish pilgrims that are here. It doesn't really matter. What matters is why you do it and what you get out of it. And I think that's quite different for everyone, but everyone gets something from this, and not just blisters. Today is kind of like day 22 of my Camino, but basically it's my return travel day. It's just after 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, and I'm here at the Santiago main train station. I've just walked down from my hotel accommodation, and in 20 minutes or so my train to Madrid will depart. So I've been looking around for a bakery or some place where I can get some breakfast, but it is dead quiet here. So Sundays are a day when most shops are closed, but also this weekend is like a public holiday weekend. Yesterday was the 15th of August, which is celebrated as the Assumption of Mary, and so lots of shops were closed for that, and so yeah, there's not much open this morning, but I'm sure I'll find a snack somewhere. And then I've got quite a long journey to Madrid, and I'm looking forward to that. I've got a window seat on the train, and I'm looking forward to watching the sunrise and watching the countryside change as we go all the way to Madrid. It's been a really spectacular day and a half here in Santiago since I finished the walk, finished the pilgrimage. I've been able to see the historic city centre. Tamara came to visit yesterday, and we walked around, spent some time eating, drinking coffee, visiting her old university, which is very interesting for me, and seeing where she used to live here in Santiago. And then last night, actually, for dinner, I caught up with two of my fellow pilgrims, one Czech and one French, and we had a kind of last dinner together because we walked the last 4 or 5 days of the Camino together, and it was very nice and to have one last meal together with them, and we celebrated and went to a creperie and had a crepe as our dessert. So this is nearly the end of my Camino, and hopefully, fingers crossed, all of my travel back to Germany will go well. So here I am back at Mannheim Hauptbahnhof, and my journey is complete. I will catch the tram now to go home. And that's the end of, well, what will probably be my first Camino. It's only 3 weeks ago that I was standing over there on the platform, ready for my train to come, excited about travelling through France to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and now it's all completed. I've wrapped it up, got my Compostela, and I'm going home. So it will be good to get back to work, it will be good to get back into normal life here. But definitely I would never forget going on the Camino, seeing incredible stuff, meeting amazing people, and having time to think on such a long journey.